Hello dear students. So today we are going to discuss the solution of NTA NEET test 25. So let's start. The very first question is, which among the following is correct regarding diamagnetic materials? Okay. So here the answer is given that they have a small and positive magnetic susceptibility, they have large and negative susceptibility, they are feebly attracted by magnet, they are feebly repelled by magnet. So if we will talk about the diamagnetic materials, okay, so we will talk about the diamagnetic. So diamagnetic materials repelled by magnet. So what these things? Repelled by magnets. Another thing is that paramagnetic material attracted by magnets. So there are two conditions, you can find out which one is correct. So for the diamagnetic material, the positive and negative, there are two things given, that positive magnetic susceptibility and negative magnetic susceptibility. Okay, so and another thing is given that they are feebly attracted by magnet, they are feebly repelled by magnets. So the correct answer is D, they are feebly repelled by magnets. Another thing is that diamagnetic material magnetic susceptibility is negative and very small. So for diamagnetic, magnetic susceptibility, that is chi, is negative and very small, while diamagnetic susceptibility of paramagnetic material is positive, but paramagnetic magnetic susceptibility is also very small and very small. Okay, so here is the correct answer is D. Now here is the next question. The next question is given that on increasing the temperature, the specific resistance of, okay, so if you are increasing the temperature, then the specific resistance of the conductor will be increases. So if you are increasing the temperature, means T increases. So if you are increasing the temperature, then specific resistance for conductor increases. So here is given that for conductor increases, as well as for semiconductor. If you will talk about the semiconductor, then the specific resistance will be decreases. So here is option C is correct, that on increasing the temperature, the specific resistance for conductor increases as well as for semiconductor decreases. The next question is, in a potentiometer experiment, a cell in the secondary circuit gives null point at 2.5 meter. When the length of the potentiometer wire is 10 meter, if the length of the potentiometer wire is increased by 1 meter without changing the cell in the primary circuit, then the position of null point will be. So here it is asking that what is the null point. Okay, so in case of the null point, you can say that the potential difference remains same. So for the first condition, potential difference can be defined as, for the, suppose the potential, the null point is at here where V will be 0. So potential difference across this as well as potential difference across this will be equal. So suppose that potential difference across this one is V dash, across this one is V double dash. Okay, so we can say the resistance across is R dash and resistance across this is also R double dash. So V is equal to, we know that R is equal to the value of resistance, V is equal to I R. So R is equal to rho L upon A, where rho is resistivity, R is specific resistance, L is the length, and A is the cross-sectional area of the wire. Okay, so what here is given, that it is given that the null point at 2.5 meters. So length is given, and another thing, that what will be the resistance, what will be the resistance. So here R dash. So R dash will be equal to, according to the question, gives null point 2.5 meter. So here is given that 2.5 meter. Okay, so the length is 2.5 meter, specific resistivity will remain same, and the potential wire is length 10 meter. And one more thing is given that the potential wire is 10 meter. So divided by 10 meter. Okay. So V dash will be across this, V dash is equal to what will be IR dash, hence I 2.5 rho upon 10 A. Okay. Now the resistance R double dash will be equal to, R double dash will be equal to, what is given that wire is increased by 1 meter. Okay, so wire is increased by 1 meter means length has been increased by 10 plus 1. Okay, so here length will be 11 meter, and we will talk about the null point. So what will be the length per unit? That is 1 upon 11 rho upon A. Okay, so here is the next condition, that is now L upon 11. Now V double dash is equal to I R double dash, hence I 1 upon 11 L upon A. At null point V dash must be equal to, at null point V dash is equal to V double dash. So here will be, you can say that this one will be equal to this one, hence I will be cancel out, rho will be cancel out, A will be cancel out, therefore L will be equal to 11 into 2.5 divided by 10. So here is the correct answer is 2.75 meter. Now talk about the next question. What is the next question? The next question is, two coils have mutual inductance 0.005 Henry. Okay, so given that L is equal to 0.005 Henry, and after that the current changes in the first coil according to the equation I is equal to I naught sin omega t, where I naught is equal to 10 ampere and omega is equal to 100 pi radian per second. The maximum value of electromotive force in the second coil is, okay, so here we can say that electromotive force can be defined as E is equal to L di upon dt, but we know that I is equal to I naught sin omega t, and I naught is given that I is equal to I naught sin omega t, where I naught is equal to 10 ampere. But what will be E? E is equal to L d by dt of sin I naught sin omega t. Now here I naught is constant, therefore the differentiation of sin omega t will be equal to L I naught d by dt of sin omega t is equal to cos omega t, and again differentiation of d by dt of omega t, d by dt of omega t, hence E is equal to L I naught d by dt of omega t is omega, so omega cos omega t. Now here given that for E maximum, L is equal to 0.005 into I naught is 10 ampere, and omega is given also that omega, where is omega is given that 100 pi, so into 100 pi, and the maximum value of cos omega t, for the maximum electromotive force omega t must be maximum, so cos omega t for maximum will be equal to 1, hence into 1. So multiply all these things, 100 into 10, 1 1 1 1 means 0.5, okay, multiplied by 10. So E maximum will be equal to 5 pi. Okay, so the correct answer is B. Now moving towards the next question. The next question is given that the network shown in the figure is part of complete circuit if at a certain instant the current I is 5 ampere and is decreasing at a rate of 10 to the power 3 ampere per second, then the value of VB minus VA. Okay, so look at here, it is given that VA, this one is given VB. So this one is a very easy question. VA, potential difference, VA minus VB. VA minus VB equal to. So here V is equal to IR. Okay. So I into R, and I is given that 5 ampere. So first thing, the current is flowing towards the B direction, therefore I into R. I into R. This one is I into R. So 1 into 5. Now look at this one. This is denoting that the potential difference is against of this VA minus VB. Hence minus 15 volt. Now you can also look 5 millihenry. Okay. So the potential difference with this 5 millihenry, that is the electromotive force, we can find out di by dt. So here we can find out E is equal to L di upon dt. Okay, so di upon dt is given that 10 to the power 3. So 5 millihenry into 10 to the power minus 3 henry, and di by dt is given that 10 to the power 3. So E is equal to, the value of E is 5 volt, which is also against, so here E is equal to 5 volt, which is also against VA minus VB, therefore minus 5 volt. So solve this equation, minus 15 minus 5, so minus 20 and plus 5. So VA minus VB, minus minus cancel, will be equal to minus 15 volt. Therefore VB minus VA is equal to 15 volt. Okay, so the potential difference between B and A is 15 volts. So correct answer is C. Now again, here is next question. Two capacitors of capacitance 6 microfarad and 12 microfarad are connected in series with a battery. The voltage across the 6 microfarad and a capacitor is 2 volt. The total battery voltage. So you know that in case of series, the potential difference V1 V2. So the total potential difference will be V1 plus V2. Okay, and we know that if they are in series means charge is same. So charge across the capacitance of 6 microfarad and charge across the capacitance of 12 microfarad will be same. Hence we know that Q is equal to CV. Therefore Q1 is equal to C1 V1 and Q2 is equal to C2 V2, but Q1 will be equal to Q2, therefore C1 V1 will be equal to C2 V2. Okay, now what is given that the two capacitors 6 microfarad. The first one is 6 into 10 to the power minus 6 farad into the value for the first one is 12 volt. Okay, so it is given that 2 volt. 2 volt is equal to C2. C2 is given that 12 into 10 to the power minus 6 farad into V2. Okay, so here 10 to the power minus 6, 10 to the power 6 cancel out, will be cancel out. 6 into 2 yani means 12 will be cancel out. Hence the value of V2 is equal to 1 volt. Okay. Now here look, V is equal to V1 plus V2. So V is equal to V1. The value of V1 is 2 volt. 2 volt plus 1 volt is equal to 3 volt. So V is equal to 3 volt. Hence the correct answer is D. So the correct answer is D, that is 3 volt. Okay. Now let's talk about the next question. Here is the next question, that is given the electrostatic potential due to an electric dipole at an equatorial point is. Okay, so it is obvious the correct answer is 0, but let's talk about the solution. If we are talking about the dipole, so dipole means there is a positive charge, there is a positive charge, and there is a negative charge. So there is a positive and negative charge which are kept at a very short distance, that is known as 2L. Okay, now we have to find out the V, okay, at equatorial point. So V is equal to, it is obvious, V1 plus V2. But look, due to this charge, V is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon R. So the charge is here minus Q, the charge is here plus Q. V1 is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is K. So Q upon R, that is minus. In the same way, V2 is equal to plus K Q upon R. Hence V is equal to V1 plus V2. So V is equal to 0. So the correct answer is 0. Okay. Now the next question, the condition under which a point charge moving through a magnetic field experiences maximum force in terms of magnitude. Okay, so for the maximum force, here is the next question, F is equal to, so we know that from Lorentz law, F is equal to Q V B sine theta, or F is equal to, or Q V vector cross B vector. So here theta is denoting the angle between V and B, means velocity and magnetic field. So we know that sine theta will be maximum. Sine theta will be maximum if theta is equal to 90 degree, means sine theta is equal to must be 1. So theta is 90 degree, means V must be perpendicular to B. So the correct answer is C. Okay. So here is the next question. The next question is that the force acting per unit length on one conductor due to other for two long parallel current carrying wire is. Okay. So according to the question, there are two parallel wire and the current is flowing I1 and I2. Okay, so if the current is flowing, it is obvious a magnetic field will be produced just perpendicular to the current, and due to the magnetic field a force will also be experienced which also will be perpendicular. You can say the magnetic field due to the current will be produced just perpendicular. Okay, so magnetic field will be produced just perpendicular. Okay, and the direction of the magnetic field will be like this. So here we know that the current is flowing here is I1, and due to this the magnetic field will be produced also be F1. Now here if we will talk about the current is here I2. Okay, now the magnetic field produced due to this current, right here force is experienced F1. Now the force here, the force produced due to the I1, or we can say the magnetic field B1, will oppose this magnetic field. So here we can say F1 will be opposite to the minus of F2. Okay, but here we can say that F1 will be equal to I1 will be equal to I1 will be equal to I1 L, but magnetic field experienced at here is B2. So B2. Okay. Now here we can say B2 is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi R. So B2 is equal to, and here B2 is equal to mu naught upon 2 pi R, and the current will be I2. Okay, hence F1 will be equal to I1L mu naught upon 2 pi R I2, or we can say mu naught I1 I2 upon 2 pi R into L. Therefore force per unit length means F1 and F2 are equal in opposite direction, hence F by L, which we can say F by L means force per unit length, will be equal to mu naught I1 I2 divided by 2 pi R. But if we will look in the question, so 4 pi, 4 pi, 4 pi, and everywhere is 4 pi. So what will we do? Multiplied by 2 and divided by 2. Therefore 2 mu naught upon 4 pi R I1 I2. So correct answer is 2 I1 I2 and divided by 4 pi R. So C is the correct answer. Now let's talk about the next question. In the next question is given that for the moon, the wavelength corresponding to the maximum spectral emissive power is 14 microns. If the Wien's constant B is given that 2.884 into 10 to the power minus 3 millikelvin, then the temperature of the moon is close to. Okay, so according to Wien's displacement law, lambda m into t is equal to constant, which is equal to b. Hence b is equal to constant, that is known as Wien's constant. And the given is lambda m is given that 14 microns. So lambda m is equal to 14 into 10 to the power minus 6. Therefore 10 to the power minus 6 means 14 into 10 to the power minus 6 into t is equal to 2.884 into 10 to the power minus 3 millikelvin. Therefore t is equal to 2.884 into 10 to the power minus 3 millikelvin divided by 14 into 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, therefore the value of t, all these things solving after, we will get 206 Kelvin. So the correct answer is A. Here is next question. A Carnot engine operates with a source at 500 Kelvin. So here is given source 500 Kelvin, which is denoting T1 temperature, and sink at 500, sink is given that 375 Kelvin, which will be equal to T2. Now what is given that engine consumes 600 kilocalorie of heat per cycle. The heat rejected to the sink per cycle is, okay. Then what is given is here is given that Q1 is equal to 600 Kelvin. Therefore heat rejected will be Q2. What will be? Hence we know that 1 is equal, eta is equal to coefficient of viscosity is equal to 1 minus Q2 upon Q1. But here we don't know about the coefficient of viscosity, and also we know that the coefficient of viscosity is equal to 1 minus T2 upon T1, and we have T2 is 375 Kelvin and T1 is 500 Kelvin. Hence 1 minus 375 divided by 500, here eta is equal to 500 minus 375 divided by divided by 500 will be equal to 25% or 0.25. Therefore 0.25 is equal to 1 minus the value of Q2 have to find out, and the value of Q1 is 600 Kelvin. Hence Q2 upon 600 will be equal to 1 minus 0.25, which will be equal to 0.75. Therefore Q2 is equal to 0.75 into 600. Hence 0.75 means 3 by 4. Therefore the correct answer is 450 kilocalorie. Okay, then here is 450 kilocalorie is answer, that is C. Moving towards the next question. In the next question we have a molar heat capacity of oxygen gas at STP is nearly 2.5 R. As the temperature is increased, it gradually increases and approaches 3.5 R. The most appropriate reason for this behavior is at higher temperature. Then what will be happen? If you will increase the temperature, then the vibrations of the molecules will be rapidly. So vibrations of the molecules will be rapidly means vibrations of the molecules will be more effective, and as the vibration of the molecules will increase rapidly or they will start moving rapidly, means temperature will also be rise due to the vibration. So here is the most effective or most appropriate answer is D, that is the molecular vibrations gradually become effective. Because what will be happen, if you will increase the temperature, then the vibrations will be produced or molecules will start vibrations very rapidly. In the next question, that is 13, 1 liter of oxygen at a pressure of 1 atm means atmosphere and 2 liter of nitrogen at one pressure of 0.5 atmosphere is introduced into a vessel of volume 1 liter. If there is no change in temperature and the final pressure of the mixture gases is, okay, and then what is asking, that is the final temperature. Here we know that from the ideal gas of equation, PV is equal to nRT. Okay, though for oxygen according to the question, P is given that 1 atmospheric, 1 atm, okay, and also 2 liters of nitrogen. Here look, volume is 2 liter, 1 liter for oxygen, hence V is equal to 1, and number of molecules for the oxygen is NO, hence 1 into 1 is equal to N oxygen into RT. Therefore N oxygen is equal to 1 upon RT, that is equation 1. Same for nitrogen. In case of nitrogen, P is equal to also 0.5 atm. Look here, what is given, 0.5 atm. Okay, and for nitrogen it is volume is 2 liter. Okay, therefore P is equal to 0.5 and V is equal to 2 liter. Hence according to, and number of molecules is N2, or you can consider that for oxygen O2 and nitrogen N2. Hence 0.5 into 2 is equal to N2 RT. Okay, therefore N2 will be equal to 1 upon RT, that is equation 2. Now for the mixture, that is P is mixture, volume is mixture, will be equal to number of molecules will also is mixture and multiplied by the RT. Now here you can say N mixture means combination of oxygen plus combination of nitrogen, and from equation 1 and 2 we know that NO2 will be equal to 1 upon RT plus 1 upon RT. Hence the value of mixture is equal to 1 upon RT plus 1 upon RT will be equal to 2 upon RT. Hence P mixture V mixture is equal to 2 upon RT into RT divided by 2. Hence the correct answer is, the mixture is 2. Therefore C answer is correct. Now moving towards next question. The next question is saying, for two spheres A and B, the ratio of their diameters, densities and specific heats are 1 by 2, 2 by 1 and 1 by 3 respectively. The ratio of their heat capacities will be. Okay, so here asking that what will be the ratio of the heat capacities. Now look what is given. According to the question, first thing is given their diameters. So A and B, hence diameters means RA upon RB is given that 1 by 2. Second thing is given their density, means rho A upon rho B is equal to 2 upon 1. Third thing is given that specific heat, not molecular specific heat means S1 upon S2 will be equal to 1 upon 3. Okay, we know that thermal capacity, will be equal to mass into specific heat, mass into specific heat. Okay, so mass is M and specific heat is S, and thermal capacity is denoted by C. Hence C1 will be equal to M1, Ca will be equal to Ma S A. Okay, now here we don't know the value of mass, but we know that mass is equal to volume into density. Volume for sphere, that is 4 by 3 pi r cube. 4 by 3 pi r cube, and density is denoted by rho. Hence Ca upon Cb will be equal to 4 by 3 pi r a cube. Pi r a cube, that is the value of Ma, and multiplied by Sa. In the same way divided by Cb is 4 by 3 pi r b cube into Sb. So 4 by 3 cancel out, pi cancel out. Hence we have Ca upon and the density. The density is rho A divided by rho B. Here is the density. Ca upon Cb is equal to Ra upon Rb the power cube Sa upon Sp and rho A upon rho B. Now we have Ra upon Rb is given that 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 cube. Sa upon Sb is given that 1 by 3. 1 by 3. Rho A upon rho B is given that 2 by 1. 2 by 1. Hence we have Ca upon Cb is equal to 1 by 2 cube means 1 by 8 into 1 by 3 into 2 by 1. So 2, 4 is equal to 1 upon 12. So Ca upon Cb, the correct answer is B. Okay. Now let's talk about the next question. What is next question is saying? In the next question, a string of mass per unit length 0.2 kilogram per meter and length 0.6 meter is fixed at both ends of such that it has a tension of 80 Newton. If the string is vibrating in the second overtone mode, then the frequency of the string is. Okay, so here is, we know that frequency, the value of frequency, first thing what we have, right? Frequency. So frequency can be defined F is equal to V upon lambda. Okay, but what is given that for second tone is 0.6 meter for the second tone. So for the second tone, lambda will be equal to n plus 1 by 2. n plus 1 by 2 lambda is given that 0.6, where for the second tone, n is equal to 1, for the first tone n is equal to 0. Okay, so here it will be 3 by 2 lambda is equal to 0.6, and the value of lambda is equal to 0.6 into 2 divided by 3. First thing, we have got the value of lambda. Now second, what is the value of v? So v can be defined as under root t upon mu, where t is tension, and given that t is 80 Newton. So t is given that 80 Newton and mu is given that 0.2. 0.2 here, cut 800, 400 square root, and it means v is equal to 20 meter per second. So we have v, we have lambda. Lambda is equal to 1.2 divided by 3, or you can say 0.4. Okay, hence hence f is equal to the value of v, 20 divided by 1.2 divided by 3, which will be equal to 3. Okay, 0.4 and 50. Therefore f is equal to 50 hertz. So correct answer is B. Now moving toward the next question. In the next question, a body is projected with an angle to the horizontal. Then, okay, if a body is projected with an angle theta to the horizontal, in question what is saying, a body is projected with the horizontal making an angle theta. So suppose that initial velocity is u, initial velocity with horizontal is ux, initial velocity with vertical is uy. What is asking? Its velocity is always perpendicular to the acceleration. You can here see that a is equal to dv upon dt, and which is not perpendicular. So the first answer is wrong. Now moving towards the next, its velocity becomes 0 at its maximum height. Now moving at the maximum height. So at the maximum height, it is not going in upward. So here uy is equal to 0, but ux will be equal to final velocity. Okay, so the velocity along the x-axis still remains, while the velocity along the y-axis is 0. But here is saying its velocity becomes 0, means both components become 0. So this one is also wrong. Its velocity makes 0 angle with the horizontal at its maximum height. Now look, the component of y is 0 and ux is just parallel to the final velocity. So here you can say that at maximum height ux will be equal to final velocity. Therefore C answer is correct. Here is next question. A boat which has a speed of 5 km/h in still water crosses the river of width 1 km along the shortest possible path in 15 minutes. Okay, the velocity of the river water in km/h is. So consider that this is the velocity of the water. This is the velocity of river, which is given, not given. We don't know. And the velocity of boat is given by velocity of boat is given that 5 km/h. Okay, so this is a triangular. If we will calculate velocity of river, so velocity of river means speed is equal to distance upon time. Distance upon time. Distance is given that 1 km and time is given that 15 minutes. If we will convert this one is hour, then divided by 60. Hence 60 upon 15 kilometer per hour. Hence VR is equal to 4 kilometer per hour. Here this is a triangle, therefore this one is 4 kilometer per hour. Okay, so using this triangle we can say V water का whole square plus V river का whole square is equal to V boat का whole square. We have to find out V water. Therefore V water is equal to V boat का square minus V river का square root under root. Hence V boat, that is 25, 5 का square, here you can say 5 का square, minus VB means 4 का square, hence 16. Hence V water is equal to under root 9, that is 3 kilometer per hour. Therefore the correct answer is A. So 3 kilometer per hour. Now moving towards next question. In the next question, a block of mass 1 kg is placed on truck which accelerate with acceleration 5 meter per second square. The coefficient of static friction between the block and truck is 0.6. The frictional force acting on the block is. So here is the frictional force Fs is equal to mu Sm G. Here is given that mu s, the value of mu s is given 0.6, and what is given that 0.6, the mass is 1 into 1 and gravity we can choose, that is 9.8, or let us consider 10. So here 6 Newton. So the frictional force acting on the block is 6 Newton. So whether it will be 6 Newton or less than 6 Newton, how we can say? Now we will find the force acting external force. So F external force, F is equal to mass into acceleration. Here mass is given that M1 and acceleration is 5, that is 5 Newton. So block of mass is placed on a truck which accelerate. If object is starting acceleration, means frictional force cannot be higher, because if Fs is greater than external force, F external force, then object cannot accelerate, means we can say F external can be equal frictional force. Hence F external, that is 5 Newton. So the correct answer will be 5 Newton, not a 6 Newton, because if frictional force, look at here, it starts accelerate with acceleration, so object is accelerating. If object is not accelerating, means it has frictional force 6 Newton, but it is accelerating, therefore its frictional force cannot be greater than its external force. Okay, therefore the correct answer is 5 Newton, not 6 Newton. Now moving towards next question. Energy, angular momentum and universal gravitational constant are chosen as a fundamental quantities. The dimension of universal gravitational constant in the dimensional formula of Planck's constant H is. So here we can say dimensional formula of Planck's constant depends upon g the power a, L the power means momentum the power b, as well as energy the power c. Okay, we know that the dimensional formula of Planck's constant is m L2t minus 1. You have to remember this formula. And gravitational dimension of universal gravitational constant is dimension of universal gravitational constant is m minus 1 L3 t the power minus 2. Also dimension of angular momentum is m L2 T minus 1, and the dimension of energy is m1 L2 T minus 2. Hence we can say that m L2 T the power 1 is equal to m minus 1 L3 T minus 2 the power a. Okay, in the same way m L2 T minus 1 means L the power b, and m L2 T minus 2 the power c. Okay, so here we can say m ke power minus a, m ke power minus a, m ke power b plus m ke power c. So equating both sides, we can say that minus a plus b plus c is equal to 1, because m ke power is 1. Okay, L ke power 3 means 3a, L ke power 2b means plus 2b, L ke power again 2 means plus 2c is equal to 2, and here t ke power minus 2a plus t ke power minus b means this one will be minus. Okay, this one is minus, and again minus 2c will be equal to 1. So after solving all these equations, we get a is equal to 0. Okay, what we get? A is 0. So if a is 0, then what was asking? The dimension of universal gravitational constant, the dimensional formula of Planck's constant is, the dimensional formula of Planck's constant is, so here you can say the correct answer is 0. Okay, here is next question. A body of mass 10 kg is moving on a horizontal surface by applying a force of 10 Newton in the forward direction. The body moves with a constant velocity 0.2 meter per second. Work done by the force of friction in the first 10 seconds is. Okay, then we have to find out work done. So work done can be defined as force into displacement, but here it is talking about friction force. Therefore F vector dot displacement Fs cos theta. Okay, now look, according to the question, this one is the reactionary force, and opposite to the reactionary force will be mg. If the object is moving in this direction F, then frictional force will be in this direction because it is on the flat surface. Hence you can say that F is equal to F, and it is given that force is 10 Newton, hence frictional force is 10 Newton. Okay, now displacement, that is displacement is speed is equal to distance upon time, hence displacement is equal to speed into time, and speed is given that 0.2, time is given that 2, hence it is 2 meter. Okay, and theta, what about the theta? The angle between them, force and friction force, is 180 degree, means they are moving in opposite direction, hence W is equal to tan into 2 into cos 180 degree, hence W is equal to minus 20 joule. Okay, cos 180 degree is negative, therefore correct answer is A. In the next question, what is saying? A circular hole of radius 1 centimeter is cut off from a disc of radius 6 centimeter. The center of the hole is 3 centimeter from the center of the disc. Then the distance of the center of mass of the remaining disc from the center of the disc is. Okay, so it is asking that remaining means the difference of the mass. So x centimeter can be defined as m1 x1 minus difference means m2 x2 divided by m1 minus m2. Okay, so it was at initial position means x1 is 0 and x2 is given that 3 centimeter. So x2 is equal to 3 centimeter, and we know that mass can be defined as pi r square sigma. So in the case of m1, pi r1 is given that 6 means 36, so 36 sigma, hence 36 pi sigma. Now in case of m2 that is the radius of hole is 1, hence 1 pi sigma. Therefore x center of mass will be equal to 0 minus 36 pi sigma into 3 divided by 36 pi sigma minus pi sigma. We have got minus 36 pi sigma into 3 divided by 35 pi sigma. Hence pi sigma and pi sigma will be cancelled out. Okay. Now what we have x1 and x2. There is a little bit wrong. It one is x1 and this one is x2. So we will convert all these things. Okay. So according it must be not x1 is 0. So here is x2 must be 0. Okay. So here we have m2 and here we have m1. Hence xcm will be equal to 36 pi sigma into 0 minus m2 1 m2. So minus pi sigma, m1 minus m2, that will be 35 pi sigma into x2 means 3. Hence we have got minus 3 upon 35. Pi sigma will be cancelled out. Therefore the correct answer is A. Moving towards next question. In the next question, what we have find the maximum speed with which an automobile can make a circular curve of radius 8 cm without slipping off the road is unbanned, and the coefficient of friction between the road and the tire is 0.8. Therefore, again it is asking the frictional force if it is rotating circular. If it is rotating circular means there is a centripetal force. So we have centripetal force. F centripetal force is equal to mv square upon r, and the frictional force is F, that is nothing but mu s mg. Okay. Now what we have almost everything, that is we can compare. Centripetal force will be equal to, according to the question, centripetal force will be equal to means mu s mg will be equal to mv square upon r. Okay. Hence we have m will be cancelled out. We have v is equal to under root mu s g r. Put all the things, we will get 0.8 into 10 into 8. Okay, so it will be under root 64, hence 8. Therefore the correct answer is 8 meter per second. Now the next question. Imagine a light planet revolving around a very massive star in a circular orbit of radius r with a period of revolution t. If the gravitational force of attraction between the planet and the star is proportional r the power 5 minus 5 by 2, then okay. So here according to the question, F is directly proportional to r the power minus 5 by 2. Proportional means k r the power minus 5 by 2. And we know that force is equal to m omega square r. Now equating both equation, m omega square r will be equal to k r the power minus 5 by 2. Okay, here you can say omega square is equal to r the power minus 5 by 2 and divided by r, which will be equal to r the power k upon m, r the power minus 7 by 2. So this is the value of omega square, and we know that omega is equal to 2 pi n, and omega is equal to 2 pi upon t, because n is equal to 1 upon t. Hence 1 upon t square is equal to all the things, k upon 2 pi and 2 pi, everything will be constant. So let's consider k dash, r the power minus 7 by 2. Therefore t square will be equal to r the power plus 7 by 2. Hence t square is directly proportional to r the power 7 by 2 if we remove the proportionality. Therefore the correct answer is B. Okay.